I'm Charles O'Donnell with Wolverine Defense, and in today's video we're going to cover the 4 universal rules of gun safety. So these are the baseline for safety when we're handling guns at any time, be it on the range, be it in a class, or if we're at home cleaning our firearm. We need to understand and deliberately practice these rules at all times. Also, this video is kind of homework. I'm going to send this to you if you sign up for one of my classes, and it may be homework for you to send out with someone that you may be shooting with for the first time. The idea is that you watch this video and then at your range brief, it is the second time you are hearing these, so to help you learn and incorporate them and ultimately practice them in every time you handle a fire. So what I want to do is establish that this is a dummy gun. It is a hunk of plastic made to look like a firearm. Now, why do I have it? This dummy gun can allow me to do things that I wouldn't normally do with a firearm. It allows me to demonstrate some of the common mistakes that new shooters might accidentally do, but are unacceptable. So the first rule of gun safety we're going to cover is treat all guns as if they're always loaded and always know the condition of your firearm. So the idea here is we need to be responsible with this dangerous and deadly tool that we're handling, and part of that respect is always treating it as if it's always loaded and always knowing the condition of that gun. So the idea, the skill that I want to show you associated with this particular rule is the clearing procedure, how to clear your firearm, essentially how to verify its condition. So I have a pistol here. To clear this, the first thing I'm going to do is drop the magazine. I need to get the feed source out of the firearm. The next thing I'm going to do is aggressively rack the slide. I'll do it once, maybe twice. The idea here is we're looking to clear a brass casing or a bullet out of the chamber. The next thing I'm going to do is lock that slide to the rear, because what I'm looking to do is visually inspect that chamber. It'll look a little something like this. I'll keep my firearm pointed in a safe direction. I'll look in the chamber. I may even physically check to see that there's not a round, and then I'll look through the magazine well. I can see daylight. That at this point is a cleared firearm. Now, the thing about a cleared firearm is slides lock back or firearms in holsters. Those are the two places that firearms, conditions that they can be in. If they're not in a holster and they're on a table, the slide needs to be locked back. It allows anyone to walk up and verify the condition of that firearm. The second rule of gun safety is keep your finger off the trigger until the sights are aligned and the conscious decision to shoot has been made. The key thing here is this trigger finger index. The idea when a new shooter grabs a firearm, they want to automatically put their finger on that trigger. That is a no-go. We can't do that. It's a dangerous situation. The next thing is they kind of have their finger living here. While it may not be on the trigger, sometimes it's hard to tell, and it's a not too far of a stretch to go from here to accidentally on the trigger. So ultimately, we have to be conscious and deliberate at practicing that this finger is high and off the trigger at all times. This trigger finger index needs to arrive at a level of unconscious competence. And the only way that we can get it there, that unconscious competence, meaning that it happens when I don't think about it, is consistent and deliberate practice. And lastly, if you want to avoid a negligent discharge, what happens right before 95% of negligent discharges? The trigger finger moves the trigger. So if that is not on the trigger, it is one of the critical steps that you can take to keeping your firearm safe. The third rule of firearm safety is never point your firearm at anything you do not intend to destroy. The idea here is we need to be conscious of and deliberate wherever this muzzle is pointing at any time. The idea here is wherever this muzzle points or whatever it crosses, it has the potential to destroy it. And we need to be very deliberate. The idea of muzzling someone or yourself is unacceptable at any time. It's not just like picking your nose and wiping a booger on someone and saying, oops, my bad. It is a life threat. So we'll talk a little bit about muzzling. So muzzling is essentially crossing the muzzle against the plane of something in your body, whether it's your hand or your arm, your leg, your hip. If you're trying to reholster and you point a gun at yourself inadvertently, that is unacceptable. Some of the other terms it may be called by is lasering or flagging. And this can be done to yourself, or as you're working the slide of your firearm, maybe the person next to you. At all times, it's unacceptable. And as an instructor, when I see a student inadvertently muzzling themselves, it's an indicator to me that we've entered amateur hour and maybe this person shouldn't be handling a firearm. The fourth rule of gun safety is know your target and what's beyond it, next to it and in front of it. The idea here is ultimately you're responsible for every round that you send out of that firearm until it stops. So if you're at home and someone kicks down your door and you shoot the bad guy, but one of those rounds goes through a wall and hits Old Man Bob, you're responsible for that. If you're in the woods shooting at an outdoor range and you send a round over the berm and it hits a little girl and kills her, you are responsible for that. This is one of the areas where the range doesn't do a good job of preparing us for real life. When you're in a square box at the indoor range and you're shooting, nothing's running in front of your target. Nothing is behind your target other than steel and rubber. That's not consistent with real life. If you're walking in, you parked your car and you're walking into your nearest consumer land and the shots start popping off and you pull your firearm out to protect you and others, you have to know that someone could run in front of you. Someone might run behind the bad guy, and if your bullet goes through, you are ultimately responsible for every round that comes out of your gun until it stops. So it is critical that you know your target, what's beyond it, what is next to it, and what could be in front of it. In conclusion, these 4 rules of gun safety are layers that kind of work together to protect ourselves and others every time we handle a firearm, be it in defense, be it training, or even cleaning those firearms. And critically, practicing these rules and incorporating them into our actions at all times is the goal of every responsible gun owner. I'm Charles O'Donnell with Wolverine Defense. Thank you for watching. And remember, measure, train, and repeat. And like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you on the range.